So this is what I like to call the antenna plate. This is basically the top insulator is really what it is that comes in this kit. Then we have an SO239 connector that's a solderable on the back. Some screws to mount it. So you can see this would fit right here like that, and then the screws would come in to mount it into place. Then we have two crimp connectors that these can be used to mount the other parts of the dipole right directly by going through the screw hole, and I'll show how that is done, and then onto the wire pieces. Then these are used as cable clamps to create loops down on the other end to tie off of. They'll look something like I have set up on this here. So the first part of this kit is I followed the instructions right here to make a 40 meter and a 20 meter, simply because I didn't have enough wire to make an 80 meter on hand, and I want it to be at least a dual band. So the black I cut to match the lengths as specified in the table for 20 meters, and this red I cut to specify the length for building a 40 meter antenna. On this one, I've already went ahead and placed the SO239. This is going to be the one that I will build up. So you can see how the bolts go through. I left the two out because one leg of the red will come and tie here for the shield part of that leg, and another part is going to come in and solder on that connector. This is what I'd like to say is maybe the first step. The next step would be to choose which ends or which side you want to start with to weave your wires through. So these little pieces here are made to take the tension off of the wire. That's why there's two holes. The first one will go down through like this, and you'll pull it to some length. Sorry, try and do this one-handed. And then the next one will come up through. So when you're done with that, it'll look something like this. I haven't tightened it up yet, just because I haven't gone and made the connections yet. And so then I want to come here and do the other side for the other leg of the dipole. So once this is done, they should look something like this on both sides. So I have one leg for my 40 meter antenna and one leg for my 20 meter. And then you do the same thing on this side, but then bring in these over here. So the next piece that I'm going to do is I'm actually going to connect these two together and connect them to the center right there. I have an idea of how to do that better than I've done in the past, other than just soldering those two connect directly together. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take and strip this one, or this one, doesn't really matter which one, and I'm going to strip it back about an inch or two, and then I'm going to strip this one down just a little bit less, because I have a special connector that will slide over that I can crimp them together, and then I will just only solder the one wire in. That will allow for good connection up here, and then make it a lot easier to solder to there, because it's not going to be taking a lot of heat off. So what I've decided to do is use one of these crimp sleeves to hold the two wires together. It's a copper crimp sleeve. I'm going to start shipping the kits with them, just because I think they make the soldering of the center point of this conductor a lot easier. I did a test with them to see how strong they would be and how well it would work, and this is the test that I did it on. I just did it on some wires that I had laying around after I cut the 40 meter antenna, and I haven't been able to pull that apart with a lot of strength that I put onto it. So I know with the strain relieves on the plate that should be pretty good, but my idea is to first solder one of the wires into here after I strip it, but sliding this sleeve connector. So if I was going to do the black wire, I'd slide that over, strip it long enough, solder it, strip this one, then crimp those together, then pull out the access that I need to the access up here that I need to tighten it all up. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and bring it back and we'll see how it looks. Alright, so I went ahead and put this down this one. This is going to be the wire that I'm going to solder in the center. And you want to make sure you put this on here first so when it solders in, you can still come back in and tuck this wire to crimp them together. So first off, I want to take this wire and tin it. I have a little bit of flux right here. This just helps get rid of any oxidation on the wire and allows the solder to Now with that tinned, I'm going to bring it over here. Had to use my other helping hand to help get it into place. This is where it might get a little tricky for me to solder it in here. Get some flux on this to help get it close. Just trying to melt the flux and let it flow into both places. Okay, with that soldered in, now I can just go ahead and slide the sleeve connector. If I get it out of there. Right up onto here, just barely below that. Then I want to bring this one in, right there where they meet. I did cut it a little bit longer than I wanted to because I almost wanted them to be right on top, but I could come down and crimp it a little bit further. And then with my crimpers, find the part, make sure everything's good on both sides, and then just crimp them down tight. I don't have ratcheting crimpers for this. I prefer those, but yeah, that's not gonna slide out without a lot of force. So I'm not worried about it not being conductively connected. I have had people tell me to solder this piece in, but I don't think it's needed once it's there because it's well connected with that copper crimp. So I did heat up the center too big, so now you can see that it's kind of turning on this one. That was because my soldering gun wasn't getting hot quick. I had to clean off the contacts, and then after that it worked fine. But it'll be fine once I put it in here, and it hopefully didn't lose all of its integrity. But now I'll just tuck this back through like this. It'll go into place right there. Oop. Like that. Push the slack back out the different ways. And as I said before, the 10 is cut to be tuned for 20 meters. The lengths are going to change ever so slightly when I go to tune it, just because of the way that this connection's done. And it's not going to be a huge amount. I'll probably end up just having to take off a ½ an inch of length on each side. So I'll leave it like that. Should be more than enough, but you'll see all the tension is going to the plastic. It's not on that connector. That's what this is designed to do. If you're worried that there's going to be more tension there than you want, you could come back and drill a hole here and here, and then that would allow for more points of contact. But there is quite a bit once you get it up in the air that it's not going to easily slip down to that point. So especially once you push out all the slack on that side. So for the next ones, I need the 2 legs that will then connect to the screws that I had back here first. And so I'll go ahead and do that and show what that looks like in a minute. Can't stop. So once they're all crimped down, this is what this would look like, connected and crimped. Goes through the hole. Then this will be the spot where this center pole will come up through, and then you have these pieces right here ready to go. So the last part to get this ready to start tuning and everything is to put these loops on like this. These are rope clamp or wire rope clamps, and you can buy them on Amazon or really any place, but these are stainless steel and they're just made to make a loop like that in the wire. Alternatively, the kits that I sell come with this insulator, and you could put that through as well, and then the cord that you anchor off to goes on the other side. But today I'm just going to show just using the loop. So that's what this one looks like. I went and put it on. This one's really loose. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do this with a hand, but when you're trimming the antenna, when you put it up there the first time to test it, you'll want to make sure that they're tight. But then all you have to really do when you go to make adjustments is loosen this, pull a little bit out that way that you need, and then measure it, the amount that you need to cut off right here at this end, and trim it, and then just try to keep these loops the same size. I try to keep them about 1 inch. So in the configuration that I'm going to demonstrate this in, it's going to be an inverted V. You can expect to trim off quite a bit depending on what your angle is. I'm not going to go through the full process of tuning this antenna and trimming the pieces off. And there's lots of videos describing how to use these. Dave Kessler has one up, and tuning antennas with it. So I'm not going to get into those details, but I want to show what this one looks like in a finished state. So this is how this is supposed to be on the military poles. That's 32 feet in the air right there. These are acting as the guide wire somewhat. It's good enough that it's not going to fall over, but in a real situation, I'd have them a lot tighter. This is what I did just to do a quick one of it, but you could easily put that insulator in place. I just chose not to for this setup. So what you would be doing if you were tuning this antenna now is you would take measurements on it, and I would just do one leg at a time as you're doing it. Cut this one to where it needs to be, then go cut the same one on its length, and then tighten it back up and measure the next one. So I'm gonna do a center video, vertical video, so you can see how high it is. But right up there, that plate is just acting as the guide wires. I'm sorry, you probably could barely hear me because all the trucks in the background. I'm right on the main road. Height picture, and you can see that's the idea. And this could be for a portable setup that you can hurry and set up with one of these and take down. So my mast right there is also built out of those military poles, and if I wanted to, I could put a fan dipole up like that, off of that, and just use those as guide wires. And I've been kind of thinking of doing that, and then I would put 6 and 10 meter or a 6 and 12 meter one up there, since my Carolina Windham can't do 6 and 12 meters, and then that gives me some more bands that I can play with. This doesn't have to be for a portable setup. You could use that plate on any type of mast if you have a stationary mast, and then just using a standard wire dipole with it. My brother, he's milling those with the military pole hole, or you can actually ask for a custom sized hole. He's had lots of people on his eBay page, and I'm going to link that here. Just say, hey, can you get it to this size? And he'll go ahead and cut it out when he sees and sees the plate. He just types in, that's the new hole that they want, and puts it in. Same with the guide wire plates that we sell, the circle ones. He can cut those to custom sizes as well. It makes it really easy to be used not only with military poles, but any application that you see fit. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this down. I'm gonna get my wife out here to help me do that. And I kind of really like that in the background. And yeah, it's super loud out here. Not a good place to choose to do this, nor time. But yeah, I think that it's a handy portable antenna. And I will show how I go ahead and wrap it up once it's to that point. So once the antenna is all down and wound up on this, this is how I like to wind it up. It's all ready to go for the next deployment. So the thing itself acts as a spool to hold the antenna onto.